I can see an innate desire, sword in hand, warriors side by side. I can feel it, it burns like fire. Worlds collide, an unstable landscape, side by side. But that's what this mandates. Be it might and unlikely allegiance, we will fight because that's the best defense. No turning back, for such is our path. It's clear as we ride against a dark empire. By my soul, may the last thing they hear be the roar of this raging fire. Listen, be the savagery mindset. Night and day, we'll let loose and find it. Brutal will define our reaction. Rip out the throat of each one in their fashion. No turning back, for such is our path. This day we find the glorious
Footing Services has a bundle for all budgets. You can be fully protected with emergency response for just $49.99.
And we are live. This is Braxcast Live once again, guys. I'll number these episodes. I got no idea what number episode it is of Braxcast Live, but we doing 106, 105, whatever it is tomorrow. Hopefully you guys had a good week. I don't know. My life is certainly a mess right now, and I'm trying to fix it, but that's a process, and it's not a fun process. But I think the struggle and the discomfort is actually a good thing. It's just like being in that predicament just doesn't really. It's like when you're in the thick of the woods, you feel like you're never going to get out. And I have literal experience with that because I went hiking and I got lost in the woods. I got back out, and I have that same feeling again. I'm lost in the woods of life because I don't know. I haven't really established myself all that well, like career-wise. I had the time to. I just did not have the I don't know, the mindset at all until very recently. And basically all my mental energy is spent on like moving up here, dealing with this. I don't know. I had this lady friend, and that was very confusing. And I was just like, it's like a will she? Probably won't, but she didn't. And now it's like, I've talked about that. I've talked about that with a lot of people ad nauseum. I've vaguely talked about it here. I'm going to get into it, but we need to get into the chat. We've got Garfield's Bizarre Adventure saying hello. Hail to Garfield. Hail to Student of God. Got Merc Lounge here, who's hoping that things turn around for me. I appreciate that. But there is actually some pretty exciting thing. You got a lot of regrets. I wish I had done many things differently. Many things. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, if only I could go back and do the last year of my life, the last 5 years, the last decade. I would do it so much better. But I can't hop in a time machine and relive my life. And if I did, I wouldn't be the man. Quote. I don't think I'm much of a man. I wouldn't be the person I am now. And whoever I'm going to be, just in God's hands that this is all going to turn out well for me. If it doesn't turn out well for me, turn out well for everybody in the end. And that's the more important thing, is that I'm very unimportant in this grand scheme of things. So if everything goes, disastrously for me, then it's not that it'll feel bad, but it won't be that bad in the grand scheme of things. But yes, thank you. Kick some ass. We'll see. So yeah, I had applied with the IBEW. They'll interview me this summer, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, but I've been hopping from all these warehouse jobs. This last one's not really working out for me. So I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to go get my OSHA 10 certificate, whatever it is. I'm doing that now. Use that and basically just go to basically line by basically to watch the private electrical contractors and get hired as an apprentice. Because I'm sick of I'm just at this job where I'm just checked out. I'm just not doing a good job because it's not career building. Nothing I've been doing basically has been career building. I just had these warehouse jobs, fell into it when I was in New York, and then up here I've just been getting jobs just to pay the rent, and I haven't done anything to build a career. Maybe electrician career is what I want. I'm not doing that. And it's like I can't sit here just wait around where every day going to work I'm just not doing anything useful. I'm just getting a paycheck, and it's not even a good paycheck, right? So if I'm doing something useful, then I can apply myself for most of the day, most of the week, and then I won't feel so freaking useless like I do now. And that's where a lot of the despondency comes in, is because I'm in that predicament. But anyways, enough about my whole personal situation, because I could go woe is me all day every day. I'm certainly a really uncomfortable person to be around when I do stuff like that. But anyways, Student of God did send me this in the DMs, and Student of God had mentioned I hear big news is going to drop involving Gabriel and the Guardians because they're going to be at MegaCon Orlando. So that's actually going to be next week, from the 19th to the 22nd, because I believe last MegaCon Orlando was in February. It's a little bit later. Not February, maybe the one in 24. Yeah, 24. First episode of Braxcast. Fun fact was me going over the reveal of the Horseman, and I had that ridiculous theory that he was Sam. Sam, let's see. I'm such perfect. So we got the Dokumon binder, because his name is escaping me, but it's on his Dokumon card, so I can just flip through the binder. And the I forget. I love how well presented this is. Oh yeah, Samford Willard. That's his. So I had the theory that Samford Willard was the Horseman. Of course, I was like, yeah, most likely isn't the case considering the way the character came about. But I was like, I just wanted it to be true. And his Dokumon card is him riding a horse. Let's see if I can actually. I won't pull it out, but his Dokumon card is in fact him riding a horse, which just was the icing on the cake at that time, because it was before it was launched, and we knew he was Hector and not Sam, and he was a completely different character. But it was a 99% chance and a 100% chance. But I was like, yeah, this probably isn't. But it's just a fun theory for me to float around. And it was with Horseman being revealed at MegaCon. I was making that spec. It was the first episode of Braxcast I did. I'm not sure if I did it explicitly in that episode or a little bit later, but it probably was. I would have to go back and check. But anyways, that's to say that there are announcements that happen at MegaCon. There is going to be a meet and greet with the creators of Gabriel and the Guardians. There's only been one episode. I've paid for the Angel Studios year subscription, and I haven't watched anything. So I'll watch King of Kings. I'll watch this first episode of Gabriel. Well, of course, we got the number 0, and I actually do, in fact, have a copy of it right here. So this is the Gabriel and the Guardians. Wrong way. Gabriel and the Guardians manga. This is the cover by Kane White. Of course, you can see Angel Studios, which some people say Angel Studios has gone a bit woke, but I'd say they're genuinely pretty good. And this is, a regular manga. This is a really small, book, but I like the style of it. I do a full review of it. You can just search on the channel, Gabriel and the Guardians number 0 review, and I have reviewed the book. This one, I do hope we get more of that. Decent chance that there is an announcement, because we have, and I'll show this right here, Eric saying NDA. Just saying, I hear big news is going to drop involving Gabriel and the Guardians, and Eric's just saying NDA, which means there probably is something. Does that guarantee it'll be revealed at MegaCon? No. But there's a possibility of it being revealed at MegaCon, considering they've revealed stuff, for the Rippaverse at MegaCon before with Horseman, and the fact that they're going to be there. It makes it pretty likely that we're going to get a reveal involving that, which is, of course, very, very interesting. So it'll be really, really cool to see this. And basically, I'll just mention this offhand the same way. But of course, you're going to have your typical, very typical, stuff they'll have for, a con, just, have Carol Brown. Hopefully she's doing well. If she's doing well enough to travel, which is a good sign, right? And you've got, Beardo, Geeks and Gamers, Gary from Erotic, Jeremy from D-Day Cobra, or who is D-Day Cobra, Critical Drinker. Of course, Chuck Dixon's going to be there. Chuck Dixon and Eric July will be there on Saturday, which is cool. It's 100% something big being announced. You would know this if he was in the Discord. Are you talking about the Rippaverse Discord? I'm in it. I just don't check it. Yeah, I mean, I actually, I am in the Rippaverse Discord. I'm just not sure Like I don't like check up on it all that much. 'Cause I don't use like Discord all that much. Like Discord, like I use it a bit. I don't know. Discord started in 2015. I used it a decent amount in 17. So from like 17 to like 19 is when I use it the most. I still use it, but it's not like something I check all the time. I don't know. I've like I am chronically online. But I mean honestly, I just want my shack in the woods. I don't know. It's like one of the things like it'd be fun to enlist because then I'd have a reason to just like abandon. Although I could also become a, or I could just like, I don't know. I'm gonna go on another personal rant about how dissatisfied I am with my current my current status in life, and there's no reason for me to do that. There is a reason for me to go over the free pre-orders, and we'll no. Dude, here we go. The free pre-orders, and actually, yeah, we might just do it like this. The free. I prefer this, honestly. We got free pre-orders, and they're all twos. So the one that I really want to talk about, most of all, right now is going to be, it's going to be Norfolk A Glorious Death #2. So, of course, in Glorious Death #1, we witnessed the Norse-inspired realm of Asgarth. We have this whole like inter-realm war with the Jotunheim, with the Jotun, Jotunheimarf. They say it a bit differently. And now the focus, as it was like really established in that book, like the end, Takari and the African folk or inspired realm of Nine-Dala, a sovereign land that exists beyond the reach of any portal feared by other realms for reasons they barely understand. Nine-Dala stands apart. Takari's story is just beginning. So we're going to have a, let's see, Merc's back celebrating the niece's birthday while watching with you. Well, you should be with your niece and your sister or your brother. I don't know. Especially like if it's your like older or younger sister, like why are you watching this loser live stream about comics? Like enjoy your niece's, I don't know, 5th, 8th, whatever birthday it is, instead of watching some loser talking about comic books on a Friday night, man. Not that I don't enjoy it, Merc Lounge. I definitely appreciate it. I'm sure you can multitask, but I don't know if I don't know. And plus, the thing is that there's always a lot of stuff that happens on Friday night. So like I made a friend in person when I went on my little trip to upstate New York a couple of weeks, actually around a month ago at this point. Yeah, about a month ago at this point. And it's like, oh yeah, one of my friends, is him saying this to me, owns a brewery. We're there Friday nights, and it's close by. It's in, I want to say the town. No, I don't need to say the town. Let's see. But anyways, it's like people do stuff on Friday nights because it's the weekend. I sit in my room in my dinky, my apartment. I won't insult them. Talking about comic books. So like it's very anti-social. I'm like a very anti-social person, and like in social situations, especially like work, it bites me in the butt. It was one of the reasons why I want to own a shack in the woods alone, so I don't have to talk to people. Oh, but I'm ways off from that. But yeah, it's like I said, it's like really time for me to get like a good career going. And I don't know. And I think the electrician path would be good for me. Because then I'd have something where I could apply myself and like use my mind. Because this job, like, I'm not doing that, so I'm checked out. And I want to be checked out at work. It's just like I don't know, everything that's going on and the way that job went is it's why I'm checked out. But anyways, this is going to be interesting. And the one thing that we haven't really been seeing, or haven't been seeing with any of the pre-orders, are preview pages, which is a little bit disappointing. But this is basically just very obvious. If you read Norfolk A Glorious Death #1 and how it ends, that it was going to continue to Takari's story. So I'm really excited for that, and that's really the commentary there. This is, of course, 56 pager. All the pre-orders have been. And we've got Marcos Martin's coloring, which is really good. Invisible Art Studio, and Ronaldson Friere, if I'm saying that correctly. And that is that there. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see this one. And of course, we shall go over the covers. So let's see. I mean, we can just show this is going to be revealed soon. Cover B right here is a shot of Takari, which looks absolutely epic. And that B covers by Will Conrad. This Sebastian Cheng, who's the colorist. We got color C, who Brow is this prolific cover artist for the Rippaverse at this point. And this is like, I like this. You got this punk, like it looks very like 70s to me, and also it's got like a bit of a tribal theme going on. And of course, like you look at the assets there, they are drawn quite well. I mean, this is like, again, I can look, I can't touch. My life when it comes to women is that MC Hammer song. You can't touch this. Bam, 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 bam. I'm not sure if I get copyright. I wanted to go into like, but you know that MC Hammer, you can't touch this. That's my life when it comes to women. Honestly, no qualms with it. And then Ronaldson Friere is going to have a cover coming soon. So it's just really B and C that we have for now. About that mass print cover, I'm sure it'll look epic because Friere is a great artist, but we don't have that for now. So that is Norfolka Glorious Death #2. And like I said, it's really the one I have the most like explicit like excitement for, because I've read Glorious Death #1 and I really like that book. As I mentioned in the review I did of it, and I also talked about, like, I did the Braxcast like special where it was this it's the one that got me the $1,000, which I've already blown through. It took a couple of weeks and it's gone. It helped a lot with like that initial flurry of pre-orders, but now, oh man, now it's back to like murder in the wallet. The wallet is not like the reserve is every week. Oh man, which is again, even like a first year apprentice wage is like not going to be good. So like it's going to be painful for a bit, and then God willing, I become like a second or third year. But I don't know. I have heard there are a lot of companies that just want you to be like a second or third year apprentice and don't want journeymen because they have to pay them too much. So like you're basically like screwed getting into the trades. There's a lot of black pill, a lot of doomerism, and I fall victim to this as well when it comes to like, oh man, inflation's killing us, and gas is like, God, there used to be a couple gas stations where it was below $3 a gallon, and now it's not, because of all the stuff with the Strait of Hormuz. So it just is what it is. At least my car is fuel efficient. I have that saving grace. But anyways, it's hard to not get very cynical and fatalistic about the state of the world. So I understand that. And there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the private sector, in geopolitical sphere, in people's personal lives that make it hard to not like, oh yeah, we're boned. I feel that way. Felt that way today. I feel that way basically like more often than not. Don't despair, even though like no. But anyways, Norfolk Glorious Death #2. This seems like it's not going to be focusing too much on the first established story. It's going to go in and explain Takari's story, and I'm sure they'll converge in like #3, maybe #4 as well, and then it'll lead with like the beginning of the establishment of the band Norfolk. So I'm really, really excited for this, but this does explicitly seem to be a continuation, not a continuation. While it's a continuation of the series, it's not a continuation of that story that was told with like the everything that was going on in Asgard with Valadon and his family. There's so many freaking names. It's hard to keep them straight in my head. Like, I'm not sure if it's Berglamir and Braun. I don't know. There's like a lot of names, man. But it was It's a freaking fantastic story. I probably would have to read it like a couple of times to get like all the names straight in my head. But I'm excited for this one. I'm really excited to see Nyandala because this is one that Eric had mentioned ever since ISOM 1 came out and talking about folklore. So talking about like African folklore being very underutilized in popular culture. What they'll basically do is, European for folklore, whether we're talking about like Norse mythology or Greek mythology or Roman mythology, or like, Brother Grimm's tales that come from these, ancient, old wives' tales that were told in Germania and then Germania, Scandinavia, and then recorded, written down, which is like basically how a lot of our story, ancient stories were. Like the Odyssey by Homer was, an oral tradition, I believe, and Homer just recorded it down. I believe so. I could be wrong on that, but that's how a lot of like stories go in antiquity, in the ancient world, is that these were oral traditions and then they were just written down by scribes because very few people could read. And it was only until the printing press was invented, and this is like and became popular. And this is in like the around the 16th, between the 15th and the 16th centuries. That's when like books became affordable for the average person. It's when literacy started to increase. And that wasn't, really until the 19th and the 20th century where we had like this idea of like there being universal literacy. And now with like the rise of the smartphone, literacy is going down. There are a decent amount of adults like in the first world that are functionally illiterate. We're talking about this on Hump Day Potpourri. When we're talking about RFK using HHS to teach people how to cook. And I said, well, it's not that hard to learn how to cook. You can just watch YouTube videos, you can read a recipe. But with the fact that there's a sizable chunk of the population that are functionally illiterate, which means they would not be able to read a recipe, it's sad. I think we can get to that point. But literacy, I believe, is starting to go down. And you're going to see this trend as with Gen Alpha, especially all the Gen Alpha that are raised by millennials. So like people like a little bit older than me, because I was born in 98. So I feel like the peak for this are people born between like the mid 80s to like the early 90s. It probably cuts off like around like 92, 93. People who are like in their like, early 30s to mid 40s who are parents right now. They are the like front line of creating the iPad kids. Especially like the urban millennial moms that really care about like trends and stuff, and the ones that want their kids to have like an aesthetic. So everything has to be like beige and minimalistic, and the kid just wants like Spider-Man or Barbie or Hello Kitty and stuff to be colorful. Like look, I got posters back here. Like I'm 27, I don't know, and people say like I'm kind of like at that age because I'm going to be 28 in 2 weeks. So I'm basically 30. And I got an older mindset. I swear, man, there are people probably like 20 years older than me that, wish they had like my ability to just go out and just like waste time and do stupid stuff. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't mind being settled down. Like I wouldn't mind like, if 10 years from now, like I had a mortgage and a wife and 2 kids running around, I just had to, complain about how much my back hurts. I don't know, who knows? Maybe that'll what I'll be doing. But like, I would much rather have that lifestyle than just like getting drunk every Friday night, running around, doing these one night stands and all these ridiculous things. And yeah, so like, I don't have a young man's mindset. That's to say. In some ways, I do. In some ways, I do. But in a lot of ways, I don't. So yeah. Anyways, that is Norfolk Glorious Death number 1 with some tangents, or number 2, I ought to say. And I do really appreciate the fact that it's continuing. We want to get that continuation of the African folklore, and that, or really his first like big introduction to it, because it's been teased, and this is one of the things that, like, yes, it's going to be part of the Rippaverse. It's not something that's ever been really explored in the popular culture. There's some things, of course, I don't think Wakanda really counts. But there really isn't that much like of like African history, African folklore that really gets explored. And of course, with all this like obsession with race politics, it's really something that ought to be. But one of the reasons why like it isn't, I guess, we'll say on the camera, is that like if, let's say, they made like a Shaka Zulu video game that was like the modern God of War, the one that came out in 18, it was 7 years ago. I remember playing that in college. So it's a while ago. And the one that Ragnarok, when Ragnarok was good. I like Ragnarok. I was just playing it, but I like them. They're good games. People say, oh, they're garbage, and the older ones, the original ones, are just so much better. But that's not the point. Anyways, if you had a Shaka Zulu game with that game design and it was done well, people would flock to it. It would sell millions of copies, and not a single person would be complaining that like the main character is black, right? Which is one of the reasons why they don't do it. Is because the issue is that like the community, like the gaming community does not have an issue with there being black characters. Like RCSA, like Nerdum, does not have this issue. The issue is the race swapping. It's the identity politics that gets shoveled into entertainment. And Isom is proof of this. 3.7 million in sales for the first issue, and the Rippaverse is successful. Despite what people are saying. Again, the people who are saying the Rippaverse is a complete failure are the ones who say that like it should have failed like by now. And they've said this like years and years ago, and they're going to keep on saying this. They're going to have to keep on pushing the date when it's going to go bankrupt. But the Rippaverse is successful. It has its fan base. It has a fan base of people that rail against stuff like The Modern Little Mermaid or the remake of Snow White with Rachel Zegler, the mid Latina, and people have an issue with the race swapping and the identity politics, which is why they have an issue with those characters being like black or white or black or Hispanic or whatever. Yeah, and the entire comic book market is down in sales. Does that include manga? But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because there is only the amount of money that people have for their discretionary spending has gone down. I was just talking about like the price of gas going up. It's back up. Of course, Trump is releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Biden did that. I don't know. It's a complete mess in the geopolitical sphere. One of the things that like I'm above the age for a draft because the draft is 18 to 26. I'm 27. I'll be 28 in a couple. So like I'm too old to get drafted. But like if it gets bad, then they could just extend the age of the draft to like 39 or whatever. So like they'll get me one way or another. So that's one of the things. Like I don't have a choice, guys. I just man, I should just go back and I should just shave the beard, go to Meps, go to Paris Island, and then meet my maker in Tehran. I think that would be fun. Oh man. Oh man, but that's very fatalistic thinking. And I'm not sure. I think that's like really hyping it up. Because there's just I don't know, there's a lot of reasons to hype things up. The media always like, oh, World War III and all this stuff, but we basically are in a Cold War. But anyways, that's Norfolk a Glorious Death #2. And like I said, that exploration of African mythology is going to be really, really interesting. But next is The Cursed. So part 1, Nillian's husband is brutally murdered. As detectives pursue the killer, whispers spread of cursed technology and vengeful spirits, but the true horror lies within Lillian herself, an ancient power awakening that threats to consume her soul. Part 2, the shadows close in. The line between victim and monster blurs as Lillian confronts the source of her curse and a terrifying power she was never meant to possess. In neon-lit Tokyo, where beauty masks brutality, every secret has a price and every soul can be claimed. So basically, it's deepening the plot that's established in #1. And it's going to be very similar for the Black Eye Club. So we'll just go over the synopsis. And I we haven't read number, let's see, we haven't read number 1 of either Black Eye Club or The Curse. So I can't say like, oh yeah, I'll just read the synopsis. Of course, so cover D is going to be by who knows? Well, they know it's NDA. So interior artist Crimson Zamora, Marco Lesko is the color, and of course Jen Saska is the writer because these are, so we got Adir Alil, who is the artist for cover A. So this is featuring like, it looks like a younger Lillian in a sailor's uniform. This is like, again, you guys watch like any sort of anime where it takes place in a high school, and this is what you will see, is the sailor uniform. And of course, like, it's a classic cosplay thing. If I had a girlfriend and she's like, what do you want me to do for you to get you going? Like, wear one of these or a one-piece swimsuit. Because there's some one-piece swimsuits to me that look better than bikinis. Like, especially like if it's cut around the midriff right, then it's like, oh no, you get me to do anything. Like, oh man, oh man, I'm really telling on myself there, guys. Oh man, that's the thing, is that like I'm as bad as the rest of you, if not worse. It's just that like I'm never going to get the opportunity, thankfully, because women don't like me. I think it's very justified. But the issue is that like I like them, right? I think it was like was the last job I had. One guy's, I said, oh, I don't drink, I don't smoke. And he's like, oh, your only addiction is girls then? I was like, yeah. Women don't like me, but I like them. It's like, yeah, it's always how it is, or something like that. But anyways, I like this cover. Of course, you've got like the Shinto gate on fire in the background. Really, really cool. So it's a very like, you got that like Tokyo horror vibe going. Absolutely love it. So fantastic job. Hats off to excuse me. The seasons are, I don't know, it's like March is a temperamental month because it was like in the 70s. It was in the 70s, and now it's like at the beginning of this week, and now it's like back down around the below 40. So it's getting warmer, but it's not quite warm yet. It's weird. But that's Admir Leals, Marco Martins as a colorist. So we've got Alyssa Rodriguez and Marco Martins as a colorist on this on this shot of Lillian, and that like I'd say it's her like basically her uniform is that like a nice black dress. She's got like the choker, and you've got it kind of looks like the New York City skyline, but it probably is Tokyo on fire with her cool powers. I absolutely love this. I love that cursed logo there. And then we've got cover C, which is by Andrew Magnum, who is the artist. Absolutely love this one. And of course, you've got, looks like, a man in complete distress. And this is, of course, your foil and embossed. And again, I'm going to make another observation. We've had like no retro covers for any of these pre-orders for the solicitations. I'm just hoping one of these books breaks that trend. Like, I love the retro covers. They are so good. We need them to come back. That's all I'm going to say. But they have not come back. At least not yet. But yeah, that is the Cursed. So it's, of course, by Jen Saska. Crimson Zamora is the artist. And not much. It's just a continuation. So Lillian's husband gets murdered. Her powers awaken. And number 2 is just dealing with that fallout. So we'll have a better idea of what that fallout is going to be once we get number 1. There's also a bunch of stuff that's shipping. So like Ripazine 5 shipped, Daughter's Revenge shipped. The Ripazine omnibus or collection, whatever you want to call it, with all the story ship, and that includes the preview by Shazam. What's his name? Zachary Levi. If I can, I think it's Zachary Levi. Let's see, Zachary. Yeah, Zachary Levi. So I got the name. I got the name, guys. I got the name. Zachary Levi, who I believe is the writer of one of those books of like so yeah. Chronic Lore is saying yes, and hail to you, Chronic Lore. I don't think I've seen you in the chat. But anyways, that shipped. So there's a bunch of stuff shipping that shipped out this week. I'm sure there's going to be more stuff shipping out next week, which that just is how it is. Now, last but certainly not least, oh, excuse me, my let's see. We got the Black Eyed Club. So in part 1, the world learned that some monsters were human faces. Michael Copper, charismatic mogul, tastemaker, predator, has built an empire on fame, fear, and blood. When the Hellhounds, Europe's most elite hero team, crossed paths with him, the glittering mask began to slip. Now the game of vengeance reaches this next deadly chapter. The lines between savior and sinner blur further, and every secret comes at a bloody cost. This is supernatural filler meets gothic horror, where beauty hides the darkest sins, and Michael Copper is just getting started. Absolutely love that. But we've got, let's see, cover A, and then covers B. You see that's a coming soon, which will be by TBA. Cover C is also TBA. So we'll just go over the two that are revealed. So cover A is by R.D. Brown, with Marcos Martins being the colorist. So we got one of the Hellhounds here. This looks like some ground cage match. This reminds me of like Fight Club. I believe, I reviewed Fight Club. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Oh man. Let's see. Archive. No, that's the wrong archive. Yeah, sorry guys, because I reviewed Fight Club. I just want to. I remember watching Fight Club. But did I review Fight Club? Yes, I did. I reviewed it over at this point just about 2 years ago. So you can see Fight Club review. I'm not going to show the rest of this. This is a paid review. So if you want to check this out, you can become a paid subscriber. And you can check out the Fight Club review, along with all of the other reviews that I've done. So you can see I do one every month, and I've been doing this for 2 year at this point, because I started in March of 24. So the first one I did was The Terminator, and I love The Terminator. Great movie. But yeah, it will go Fight Club, Cocaine Bear. Yeah, these are really good movies, man. That I don't think I've reviewed a single bad movie so far. But man. Whew. But anyways, this scene just reminded me of Fight Club, even though Fight Club was with fists. This is definitely a little bit more dangerous than that. Love the garters, everything's covered in blood, so they probably have both killed people. So you got Sylvia Soska, Janine Holland, Gil Hirame Lindbergh doing this. So book, absolutely love this. And of course, this is Sylva's book. And then we've got cover C, which is foiled and embossed by Yevgeny Sokolov and Candace Hahn, who is the colorist. So this is a fantastic one. I mean, this looks like some sort of demon. The eyes are glowing red, so it might be like Michael might be able to transform. I'm skeptical of that, but that is cover C right there. So Black Eye Club Part 2 is on the way. So we haven't gotten any shipping notifications for either of those books, but I imagine those are going to be coming soon. There have been some issues in the warehouse they've been ironing out, and it seems like those have been. So they're going to start chewing through this backlog. So if you have anything that's pending in these orders, you might see stuff shipping out on different carriers than what you are. So if you ordered something from FedEx, it might be shipping for you for UPS. If it was DHL, it might be another carrier. Who knows? It just is what it is. But those issues are probably going to be ironed out, like it says, relatively soon, because they're changing how they're fulfilling things. And it seems like getting ready to just hit the ground running with all the stuff that's coming. So really, really exciting stuff. But there isn't really much to talk about with these part 2s, because we don't have the part 1s, right? So if I had like Curse Part 1 and it was in the community and I had read and reviewed it, then I could say like, hey, this is what I think is going to happen, and even with Norfolk a Glorious Death, because we read Part 1 and it's like, oh well, it's just a confirmation of like what we knew, that Part 2 is going to explore Nyandala. And I think we're going to see how Takari and Valdon meet each other. We're going to see Takari as a child, most likely, because Valdon's a child in that book. How do I feel about the drip release covers? Chronic Lore is saying, I don't personally care for it. Like, I'd like for them all to be revealed at once. But it doesn't really matter all that much. One thing I would like for them to do is to do some preview pages, because that would be a cool thing for us, to go through on these streams. So if you go, we don't have any collections anymore because all the collections have closed out, and we're just on the pre-orders now. So these pre-orders, and again, like look at the amount of stuff up for. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 books up for pre-order right now. That is absolutely insane. And the whole like pre-order system launched just a couple of weeks ago, and there's already 11 books up for pre-order, guys. So like that idea of like, if they keep going at this rate, that 100 book release is decently realistic, especially if that's including the Rippa Send. The Rippa Send numbers. It's very realistic that they'll hit that 100 books if they keep going at this rate. I don't want them to, guys. I don't want them like every week to releasing 3 books, man. That's insane. I can't afford to do that. So we might be in the case where like I can't buy every single book. Now, if you guys want to like, if you guys want to throw me some bones on PayPal, that would help me a lot. If you guys want to like become paid members on the Substack and support the Rippaverse habit, I don't know. Would you guys want me to make like a GoFundMe, like fund my Rippaverse addiction? And just say like, hey, like if you guys give me like $2,500, I'll just use it to buy Rippaverse books for the show. And I'll just roll it in as like support the Braxcast or something like that. Like, wish you guys. I'm gonna make a poll. So let's see. Boom. We got a poll. So I know only a couple of you guys are on Twitter. I mean on YouTube. Most of you guys are watching on Twitter, but if you're watching on Twitter, and I have confirmed this, like you guys can chat. Like if you tap on the post, it'll open a chat and you can actually chat. So if any of you guys feel like chatting, you can also go to my YouTube channel. Like you just type in Velvet Room Publishing or you just type in Braxcast. You can vote on this poll. But yeah, it seems like no. 100% no. Yeah. So like yeah, like I said, I think I do think that's a big cringe. And like there are people like legitimate like, oh yeah, like I have cancer or I need to pay for my mom's funeral expenses. I need to be able to buy all the comic books I want. Like one of these is not like the other. Andrew is saying we always knew we'd reach that point in production where we'd have too many books for everyone to grab everything. Most comic book fans will get everything each week. I don't. Yeah, no, it's realistic. It's just like for me, like being the Rippaverse guy, it's a bit of like it's a hard thing for me to like accept because like I've been able to keep up with this in terms of buying everything like up until like this point, and like I'm basically at the precipice where I can't do it anymore. Which is cool because of the amount of content that's being released. It just like kind of like sucks that I can't like show every single cover off, but that's not going to happen for a while because like all of these, and I'll show these, all of these 11 books, and a lot of this has to do with the store credit, I have every cover again. So Merc Lounge is back again. Hopefully you're enjoying time with the family. Hopefully your niece is having a good birthday party. But anyways, this is the situation. Oh wow. Actually, the plot thickens. The GoFundMe for Braxcast, it's mostly yes at this point. That's weird. Guys, that's weird. Let's see. So it's like only a third no, only 2/3 yes. So like just want me to do it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. But anyways, if you go into the pinned comment and you can PayPal me money. So if you want to do that, I can just roll it into my Velvet Room Publishing, like because I have an LLC for Velvet Room Publishing. It has its own bank account, and that has a decent amount of cash. I just use it mostly like I pay for like Word, like the domain name is like $19 a year, which is really cheap. Pay for X Premium, which is $40 a month, which is ridiculous, Elon. It used to be lower than that, but I pay $40 a month. And that's like the bulk of it. I pay for like Word because Word is a subscription. Like you can't. Again, guys, remember back in the day where you walk into like Staples or Circuit City. I'm dating myself because I know what Circuit City is. And you go and you buy like a physical CD. It would have the software for Microsoft. It'd be like Microsoft Office Suite 2006 or whatever it was, and you would actually own the damn thing. You wouldn't have to pay every freaking month just to use Word or Excel or whatever. Now you got to do that. I despise it, but Word is a good word processor. And it's one that like I haven't. It's been so long since I've written. Like my long. I need to get back into that. And probably one of the things that make me feel a lot better is like if I went back to writing, and I got into the copywriting, so I could get more money. I wouldn't feel so dependent because being a wagey sucks. Unless like it's a company you really like and you really enjoy, but like any of these big corporations, being a wagey for them sucks. And that's what I've been hopping around from. It's just these big corpo companies that really just do not matter, But anyways, that's the whole situation I'm in. But yeah, I agree. $40 a month is for X, but it's like it's the premium. So I got the check mark, I got Super Grok, I got the ability to upload videos. So I got the ability to, I believe, I think I can live stream. But anyways, I've paid, for the year subscription for StreamYard, and that's what allows me to live stream, to do the dual live streaming. So I'm live streaming to YouTube and I'm live streaming to Twitter or X. At some point, I'm going to meet a person. I'm going to call it Twitter, and you're going to be, bro, why are you calling it Twitter? I wasn't even alive when it was called Twitter. And I'm just gonna crawl into my coffin at that point. We dust. Oh, it'll probably happen. Oh no. At some point, I'll probably be at least 35 years old when that happens. Might be closer to 40. Oh no, I'm it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what that but this is provided like I'm still a participant in society at that point, which I'm hoping I'm not. I'm hoping I bugged out. I'm out in the hills and you guys can deal with it yourselves. That's the mindset I'm in. But man, so many pre-orders. So with these last 3 pre-orders, we've got so many available. So we got let's see, Anthony Buck 1044 saying, "What's up? What's up to you, Anthony?" I was just complaining about my life earlier. Complaining is a good word, which I honestly shouldn't be complaining. But yeah, work situation is not the best. But it just is what it is. And I gotta work on fixing it rather than just sitting around going, woe is me. Blue Shift arrives tomorrow. So yeah, Ripazine number 5 is arriving at some point soon for me. I get it shipped to the UPS store because one of the first things that I did when I moved up here, win the lottery. Yeah, because like everyone who wins, because like winning lottery is just so practical for me. Yeah, no, I hate gambling. Yeah, let me just check out all the money in my bank account, buy a bunch of lotto tickets, and I'll win big. Heck, or tech. hell, might as well say it. Let me just get a one-way ticket to Vegas. Bet it all on black. It'll totally work. And then I'll meet some random chick at the bar, and I'll have a Las Vegas wedding, and it'll work out perfectly. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to win. I mean, if I did win the lotto, and I took the reduced lump sum, I paid a lot of taxes on it. Even if I had a couple mil, I could honestly make that work and just retire. Well, retire, but I could just get like myself in a position where I could just bug out. But that's like it's just not how it works. But anyways, I'm checking when my let's see. Oh yeah, so it should be arriving Monday for me. So yeah. So that's what it seems like it is. So it'll arrive on Monday. When I'll get and I got the I want it all for that. So that'll be exciting. To see that. Because I remember it being like a good month that month in terms of money. But none of the months are like it's not the case at all now. Ugh, not making a lot of money. That's why I checked out the job because like I checked out and slacking off, and I shouldn't be, but it's like that's the reason why. It's because I'm not making enough money, so like I'm not like invested in the job, which it's a dumb mindset to have, but it just is how it is. So yeah, but anyways, that's the situation there. But I'll be getting Ripazine 5 on Monday, so that's shipped out, and I'll probably be getting a bunch of other stuff, around Monday as well. But it will be exciting to see that book or to read Ripazine 5. I can't wait to read Blue Shift. So it won't be this episode, tomorrow's episode of the Braxcast, but next week's episode is when you guys will see me review Ripazine number 5. But yeah, it's about 8 o'clock right now. I've been live streaming for about an hour. Is there anything else? Let's see, not anything else, but I mean, there are other things I could talk about, but I've hit over everything. We did speculate on, not speculate, but we talk about, Gabriel and the Guardians, which apparently I got to follow the Discord for. So talked about Gabriel and the Guardians, talked about, the free pre-orders up for release, and I also just ranted about the sorry state in my life. I kind of need to vent, but venting online to you guys is probably not it's definitely not the thing to do. But thankfully, I could probably do that with people in real life, and I'll feel better about doing that. Anthony, I am not going to MegaCon. Don't have the time off. I mean, I do. The thing is, like, I do have the money. I have the money to do a lot of things. I just don't want to spend it. But like, I have the cash where I could just buy like a plane ticket and a hotel room. And I could do a lot of things. Like, I could buy a one-way ticket to Alaska and just say, screw it, I'm gonna make it work. And it's not like a flex to be like, oh, I'm so rich, I have all this money, and you guys, that's not the way. But it's like it's not like, oh, like I wouldn't say, like, I would be lying to say like, oh, I couldn't afford to go to Orlando for a weekend, which I think MegaCon's in Orlando. Like, I could, I just don't want to pull from savings and do that. The thing is that like my income is not good. It's not that, like, that's the thing that's hurting my financial situation. Everything else in my financial situation is actually pretty good. But it's just the income. And in fact, that the income is low and the expenses are high means that like every month it continues to be like this, means that like I'm on this edge where like the ability to build wealth is gone, and it's even going to bite into what wealth I have built, which is one of the things that like I would say like I stay up at night, like oh, I'm so worried about this keeping me up. But it's like, yeah, it's one of the things that like really concerns me. It's why like, oh yeah, I need to get like my career going and make actual money. And I'm not doing that with what I'm doing now. I'm just coasting and I'm slacking off. And honestly, it's not a good position for me to be in. And I'm just like going from one work environment I don't like to another one I don't like. And of course, the reasons change and some are better than others. But at the end of the day, like I don't like what I'm doing because like I don't have a career and it's not giving me any sort of like decent income. Like I had decent income at this last job. It like, bucked me down to 18 an hour, which is why I got like, which is why like, the things I was like getting criticized for, which, fair, that like I was acting the way I was acting. But it's like why I've checked out is because like, I'm just not really making enough cash, to like, build any wealth, which I thought I was going to be able to, but it just didn't work out like that. And of course, like it's a big company, so it's got all that corporate nonsense attached to it, and it's just like, yeah, let's just move on. But I don't know, man. I could go to another job. It seems like it'd be better, but who knows? Who knows what I'm going to be doing next? Only God knows. But yeah, the thing is, like, yeah, I'm at the point where I don't want to wait around for the IBEW to maybe offer me a union apprenticeship. I want to actually just go ahead and just call the companies and say, hey, I want to be an electrician's apprentice. And just do it. And I just suffer through, like, I might make the same, like $18 an hour for the first year or so. But I know that like at the end of it, become a journeyman and then you make the big bucks. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it there because like I'm not feeling the best mentally, physically as well, man. Ugh, my life's a mess. But hopefully your life is not a mess. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode, despite my ranting and raving and complaining. But that's all I have for you guys. I will be back next week, hopefully in better spirits. You guys stay safe. Guys, have a good weekend. Yeah, I appreciate that, Merc Lounge. Hoping things will get better. Appreciate the prayers. But I'll be fine. Like I said, it's just happened today at work where I was like, and some of it is like, I don't know. I want to get into the specifics. Like some of it, like I'll take the blame for. Other things is just like, I don't know. It's like the circumstances that I've been like, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, like I could have like stayed where I was and it would have like, and been a bit more tolerable, but who knows? But anyways, like I said, it's just me, complaining when there's no need for me to be complaining. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Appreciate that, Anthony. Joker's out.